compared to non-smokers, smokers have a 4.7 times greater chance of getting lung disease. You know that means it's more likely than getting asbestos poisoning?
The risk of death from lung cancer is actually much lower than what you think it is. In fact, it's tiny when compared to heart disease, strokes, and pneumonia. We're always surrounded by easy ways to die, you know. Some people even get randomly struck by lightning and die right there on the spot.
Then I reckon you also know that secondhand smokers have 1.3 times greater the risk compared to smokers?
Of course.
So you won't mind paying the damages when I die of lung disease? How about writing that in a contract for me? You got a pen, right? I promise to protect you from all the evil in our world. Well, that's stupid. By the way, what's your name?
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, just call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Is something wrong with you? Adults ain't supposed to act like that. I only asked for your name so I can write it on the contract. You should have been able to figure that out if you're a real FBI agent like you said. Come on, sign here. Right here on the paper.
Just as I thought, Zach. This contract paper, it's a Sang Rouge wrapper. Sang Rouge is here, too. This must mean that Sang Rouge is connected to the Lee's Clarkson murder case somehow. This is a sprawling case that's spread across the entire South. It's within our jurisdiction, Zach. We'll need to steal the right to investigate from the local authorities at once. By the way, miss, what's your name?
Patricia Woods. But I gotta write my name myself, or else it won't be a real signature.
Tell me, Patricia, does this town have a sheriff? Or is it under the jurisdiction of the nearest city police?
Perfect timing. Well, go on and steal it if you want it. I was just thinking about how this is way out of my daddy's league.
Thank you for the information, Patricia. Okay, Zach, it's time to get to work. How should we seize control from the sheriff this time? Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge...
Hey there. So, you're the fella from the FBI I've been hearing so much about. I'm Melvin. They call me the sheriff round here.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan? But call me York if you can. That's what everyone calls me.
Huh? Well, all right. Mr. York. How's that sound?
Fine by me.
I'm sure you figured this out, but our town's a small one. Yeah, folks are already busy spreading gossip about how some FBI agents come to town. Now, I reckon you came from the city. What was it? D.C., L.A., or New York? Anywho, in the city, It's normal not to know who your neighbor is. Fella who moves in next to you could cook up a dozen folks in his backyard and no one would bat an eye. That's the city for you. Now, I never lived in one myself, but I visited them a few times, so I know what it's like. All pigs must die in the city of wolves. Yeah! Now, does that sound badass or what? I bet you'd... Hey! I know, CLG. I'm just trying to make a little small talk, that's all. Anywho, round these parts, everyone knows each other's name. So lots of folks get leery when they see an étranger like you, and since it's my duty to protect the town, I thought I'd stop by and say hello.
Zach, it looks like this sheriff is quite the happy-go-lucky type. A clear indication of just how peaceful this town is. Melvin, about the Lee's Clarkson case.
I knew you were here for that case. Can't put one past the FBI. So they even got eyes on the smallest of towns like us, huh? Our world is filled with information, and it's all within their grasp. FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
The Lee's Clarkson case is connected to a top-secret case that we've...
I know. If you're fixing to take the lead, then go right ahead. I'm just the humble sheriff of a tiny little town. My jobs are to stop my neighbors from beating the piss out of each other and listen to old folks complain. Honestly, this whole murder case has been weighing me down. So I'm gonna give you my full cooperation, Mr. Special Agent, sir.
Well, Zach, that was anticlimactic. I didn't even get to use my secret weapon. Melvin, there's a cold storage warehouse on the southern end of town, isn't there? I'd like to get permission to enter it.
Say what?
You want to see where the body's being kept, right?
Oh, I get it now. Lisa's body, yeah. Now, that's what I call a special agent. You already figured that much out. But, I'm not too sure that, going down there at this point is really gonna help much, you know?
Explain it yourself, Daddy.
That's incredible. I don't believe this. Amazing. Did you hear that, Zach? They put the body in a cold storage warehouse. This is fantastic. Insanely fantastic.
Really? Well, how about that? Well, all right then. I'll head on down to the warehouse ahead of you and make sure we get permission to search it.
Sounds good.
The management company only keeps the warehouse open during certain hours, so you'll have to come during those hours. I ain't looking to create any further disturbances. So be on time. Got it? Come on, let's roll, CLG.
I'm gonna walk home, Daddy. I still got another stop to make.
Oh, if you say so, sweetie. She's a real sharp one, as you can see, so I try to stay out of her way. Well, all right then, York. I'll see you at the warehouse.
Hey, you. You ain't secretly cutting kids up and sticking them into jars while you work as an FBI agent on the surface, are you? Or using your FBI connections to sell kids to child trafficking organizations?
I've arrested people who've done both, but I've never engaged in either of those activities myself. Of course, I have imagined doing such things in order to learn more about the psychology of the criminals I deal with.
It was just a joke. Why are you getting all serious? And don't tell me what you imagine, or else I'll get scared of you for real. Hey, can I come with you? You signed a contract with me, remember? And besides, I'm kind of worried about my daddy.
Do whatever you like. This is America, land of the free. But I have one condition.
What condition?
Don't ask me about Zach. It's a private matter. Zach, it feels like she's carrying something with her. Kind of reminds me of you back when we first met. I can't leave her alone like this. You feel the same way, don't you? So, what do you think of it? Yes, I'm talking about him. Unda is the skeletal gentleman from... Melvin called you a strange name. CLG, I think. What exactly does that mean?
Clever little girl. That's what it stands for, at least. It's nice that he made up his own nickname for me and all, but it sounds kind of weird. I wish he'd call me something normal, like just Patricia or Patty, you know?
Patty? Now that name's got a ring to it. I like it. How about Zach and I call you Patty from here on out?
Do whatever you like. You're heading to the warehouse, right? You gonna go straight there?
Well, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to talk to Zach. We're also on a mission to fell 10 maidens, you see. I'm eager to visit Alexis's diner in Lane, but we've only just arrived in this town, so it might be nice to stroll around a bit.
What? I thought you came here to investigate.
Patty, you're still just a child. Why do you worry so much? We're born to be free, and this is America, land of the free. You should always feel free to do whatever you want. Isn't that right, Zach?
Maybe I shouldn't have come with you. I'm getting kind of nervous now.
Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous. By the way, Patty, what do you usually do when you're at home?
Is this an interrogation?
Oh, no. I just figured that since we're working together now, it'd be a good idea to learn a little more about you.
Should an adult male like you really be asking a little girl this kind of question? Feel like I heard a story about this sort of thing on the news once.
There's a time and a place for everything. You know exactly who I am, and I've also introduced myself to your father. Besides, you're the one who said you wanted to come with me.
I was just kidding, jeez. You're an FBI special agent. Why would I ever need to worry?
You shouldn't automatically trust someone just because they're an FBI special agent. One's profession and one's personality are completely separate things. For example, one special agent may fall spiritually in love with a genius criminal who enjoys the taste of human flesh.
That's Hannibal. You pulled that straight out of a movie.
Just because it's a film doesn't mean it isn't deeply rooted in reality. You can't judge people solely based on where they work or how they look. You need to think hard and decide things for yourself.
Fine.
So allow me to ask you this. How do you feel about me?
I don't know. I only just met you.
Exactly. Now it sounds like you're thinking. You should never feel the need to force an answer out or pretend like you know something you don't. Zach, she's a good kid, isn't she? Honest and straightforward.
Oh, wait, there's one thing I can say.
Oh. What?
When you talk to yourself like that, it really creeps me out. Did you start doing that after you became an adult? Or have you just always done it? Either way, you should stop doing it. It's really weird and, makes me wince whenever I hear it.
Ooh. Zach, did you hear that? No need to worry. Neither of us are weird, I can assure you of that. She's probably just having trouble finding the right word to describe us. No, I think I'll stop there. Wouldn't want her to think we're getting desperate.
Like I said, it's really creeping me out.
Mr. York, that was mighty quick. The special agent does it again. You sure don't waste any time. I bet my CLG's got a lot to learn from you. By the way, Mr. York, looks to me like you aren't packing anything.
I was on vacation in New Orleans before I happened to stop by here.
Well, shoot, that won't do. Here, I got something I think you'll like. I call him Mr. Alligator. Badass, ain't he? It's a tranquilizer gun for the gators. And here's a radio. With this, you won't have to worry about any expensive roaming fees. Might take you a while to get used to him, but you'll get it. Try letting him rip a few times. Ain't no need to hold back out here.
Now this is an intriguing weapon. For a tranquilizer gun, it really packs a punch. But I'm afraid I'll decline. After all, this town is peaceful, isn't it?
Well, sure is peaceful. At least the humans are. But the animals, are a different story. Remember what I named it? There are some real mean-ass gators out there in the swamps. And every now and then, they wander into town. One of them even went and ate a kid once. It happened a long time ago, but still. One chomp's all it takes. They swallow down every last bit of you. Poor kid's parents didn't even know what to put in his coffin. The worst part is, that taught the gators just how tasty we humans are. So now, those suckers just attack on sight. Man-eating crocodiles will feast tonight. In Blood Swamp!
You know he's fibbing, right? Gators don't attack folks. I never heard about no kid getting swallowed by a gator.
Actually, Patricia, you're wrong.
I'm what?
Alligators do attack people, and it could happen in any town.
Huh?
Alligator, 1980. Directed by Louis Teague. It takes place in the Midwest, I believe. A teenage girl's pet alligator gets flushed down the toilet. Then, in the sewer, it feeds on the corpses of dogs that were used as test subjects for an experimental growth formula. After growing over 30 feet, it finally starts to go after humans. It's an extremely edifying movie. Back when I first saw it, I had a pet hamster.
Hey, Agent York. What's your first order of business? You're in charge now, remember?
Well said, Patricia. I nearly lost sight of my true goal. Melvin, I couldn't help but notice the name on the side of that truck. This facility is connected to the victim, isn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah. I reckon I better start from there. I'm gonna tell it to you straight right from the beginning, Mr. York. As you guessed, this warehouse is run by the Clarksons. The victim's father, Danny Clarkson, is the one who manages the whole place. Okay, but why did he choose to store her body in his own warehouse, right? Well, that's 'cause there ain't no other place to store it. Our town has a clinic inside a church, but no morgue. Whenever someone kicks the bucket, we just bury him in the graveyard right outside of town. But not this time. We got a murder on our hands this time. We need to give Lisa's body an autopsy and keep it stored, right? So we had no choice but to rent out a corner of this warehouse.
I see. So that's what led to the ingenious choice to store the victim's body in a facility that her family owns.
Anywho, this is where the real story begins. Truth is, a few days before you got here, Lisa's body went missing.
Missing?
Yeah. All of a sudden, poof.
Did you leave the warehouse unlocked?
I most certainly did not. I locked the whole place up and made sure no one could get inside. No one stole the original key, and I couldn't find any fingerprints at the scene.
So, in other words, this is a locked room mystery.
The body of a beautiful young girl walks at mid... Hey! All right, CLG. Reckon I should have told you about this earlier when you first said you wanted to come here. It just didn't seem like the time or place as I remember. Anywho, how about we call it a day and head back to my office? You can go through all the files there.
No, thank you. This is what I came to investigate.
But Lisa's body isn't here anymore. You sure?
That doesn't bother me one bit, Melvin. You see, I met a skeletal gentleman on my way here, and he was kind enough to give me an oracle.
You holding up okay, CLG? Sure you don't want to wait outside?
I'll be fine, Daddy. Just make sure you don't take your eyes off of him. He's so selfish and inconsiderate. I'm still not convinced he's actually a real FBI agent. Look, he's talking to himself again.
Zach, this is the ambiguous zero, the deep freeze. Let's hurry up and find that flying serpent, shall we?
Hey, Mr. York. You sure you want to keep investigating this place even though we know the body ain't here?
Of course, Melvin. The skeletal gentleman gave me an oracle, remember?
It's Skella what?
Ugh, he's just joking, Daddy. You can't take him seriously.
Huh? Well, was that really a joke, Mr. York? Well, I'll be. I see you've been hiding some real charm into that whole FBI routine.
Sorry, Melvin, but I'm dead serious.
Good God Almighty. This place always gives me goosebumps, no matter how many times I come here.
Yes, it's quite the funhouse. Truly a dazzling place. Meat entertainment. That's the only way to describe it. Woven together by life, frozen in time, a visceral, musical.
Symphony. We eat all this in order to survive.
Yes, truly a symphony. Life and death resonating together.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool. Whoa now, CLG. Since when were you interested in this kind of stuff?
What are you so surprised for, Daddy? I'm more mature than you are. I've seen way more realistic corpses on CSI, you know.
Oh, man.
At first, Zach, I was shocked by the notion of storing a victim's body alongside food. But as I gaze upon this hanging garden, I realize it's just another scene of violent, depraved murder. Yes. All we need to do is change our point of view, and things will expose themselves in utterly new ways.
Hey, Mr. York. This is kinda, yeah.
Melvin, if you have something to say, then just go on and say it. Otherwise, you'll simply be insulting this beautiful landscape.
You think this is beautiful?
Oh, yes. It's the abnormal world that supports our normal lives. I think that's wonderful. Don't you? Besides, look, Patricia seems to be handling this a lot better than you are.
Well, you see, I ain't too good with this grotesque stuff. Ugh.
Don't let it get to you, Daddy. Whew. Everyone has at least one thing they're afraid of. Even you. Right, Agent York?
Something I'm afraid of?
Yeah, that's right. You gotta have at least one thing. Like clowns.
Clowns are so funny. How could anyone be scared of them?
Zombies.
Love them.
A bucket full of worms.
I could squeeze them with my bare hands.
The sound of screeching glass.
Doesn't bother me.
Then...
They cling to your skin like putrid leeches, robbing you of much more than your vitality. The wet socks.
Melvin, you're a genius. Melvin, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you a personal question. In the hotel parking lot, when I first met you, the picture you had on your dashboard happened to catch my eye. Was that your wife?
Oh, her? Yeah, that's my lady, all right. Candy. Her name's Candy. The prettiest girl in town, which makes me the happiest boy. A shooting star landed in a rural town, right on top of a man who now has a meteor struck hard.
You always keep her photo with you?
You bet I do. The truth is, Candy's a little sick right now. She can't even leave the house no more. So I always keep her photograph with me. Kinda feels like we're always together, you know?
I see. You care for your wife a great deal. But this means that...
Yeah, that's right. My mama had me before she married Daddy. But it don't matter. He's still my real daddy to me.
Oh, thank you, CLG. And you're my pride and joy.
Well, Zach, isn't this a heartwarming scene? But there's one thing I just can't get out of my mind. Don't you think that photograph looked a bit too old? Perhaps Candy is already... No, let's not think about that. It might be a private matter, just like you, Zach.
We're almost to the morgue. The temporary one, at least.
You don't need to keep correcting yourself, Melvin.
I know, but I'm starting to feel guilty all of a sudden. You know, from an ethical perspective. It just ain't right to store a teenage girl's body in a place like this.
Still, rephrasing your sentences won't fix anything at this point. It's a shallow concern, really.
Yeah, I know. But shoot, I just felt like the least I could do is try to phrase it better.
Whew. Don't bother trying to convince him, Daddy. I've only been working with him for a little while, but I already figured out what his deal is. He ain't right in the head. Whew. The FBI should add a new requirement to their hiring process. Must possess humanity.
Here we are, Zach. The morgue. They stored the victim's body in a cold storage warehouse operated by her family. I'd love to shake the hand of whoever came up with that one.
Hey, Agent York. Did you just come here to laugh at rural officers who are doing the best they can? We don't have any special facilities like you people. What else did you expect us to do, huh? Don't compare us with city folk. This is Lucare. Or maybe you're just disappointed that you didn't get to see the bloated, decomposing corpse of a young girl.
Sorry, you're right. I went a bit too far just now. But don't misunderstand. I honestly think it's a fantastic idea. I'd never try and bully your daddy.
Better not.
Thank you for understanding. Boxes that got left behind. I can't tell what's inside. What do you think, Zach? I'm gonna go with okra. Yeah, okra. I'm sure it must be okra. That's a staple of the South. Zach, can you see that? Look closely. That's right. There are 4 imprints in the frost on the top of this. It's hard to believe, but I think these are fingerprints. Yes, Zach, that would lead one to believe that the body napper is a giant who's over 10 feet tall. An icicle. Never thought I'd see one of these down in the South. Boxes of the past or presents of the future. Either way, this is a curious time capsule. Forgotten boxes. Looks like shelled headless shrimp. When were these boxes brought here? And when will they be taken away? Zach, can you feel it? The perpetual, unstoppable flow of time. Look at the thermometer, Zach. It's at 10 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 12.2 degrees Celsius. This must not be the ambiguous 0. These pallets are a mess. Looks like this area isn't used often. Still, the idea to store a body here, it's a novel, sophisticated idea unlike anything I'd ever come up with. Zach, these are human footprints, and they're extremely large. Yes, Zach, I agree. These footprints must belong to someone who's used to walking around in cold temperatures. This frost is shaped like something we're very used to seeing. That's right, a body bag. Lisa's body must have been left here, but there are no signs that the bag was dragged away. So our criminal must possess monstrous strength. Seems like our flying serpent isn't here. Is this everything, Melvin? There aren't any other rooms in this warehouse? No special rooms?
Well, there is the luxury foods warehouse.
Luxury foods? Why didn't you say so earlier?
Just thought you wanted to see where the body... I just thought you were only interested in warehouse number 2. Besides, it's underground, so it's even colder than this. You sure you really want to go down there? You could darn well freeze to death. All life will come to an end in the icebound zone. You feel me?
Let's head there at once. I'm sure that must be where we're meant to go.
But what about searching for Lisa's body?
All we need to do is find a 10-foot tall man with monstrous strength. That giant knows where she is.
10 foot tall?
But finding the flying serpent is more important right now. Now please, guide me to the luxury foods warehouse at once. These luxury foods are most likely being used in local Cajun cuisine. I'm so excited to see what we'll find. Aren't you, Zach?
A 10-foot tall giant? All right. Now that one's gotta be a joke. Right, Mr. York? That elevator needs a key, Mr. York.
Do you have one?
Actually, no. I didn't think you'd ever want to go down there. So I didn't bother to go and get one.
Well, then would you go and get one now?
Yeah. COG, I know. I'll tell it to him straight. Thing is, Mr. York, you know the Clarksons? The folks who own this place? Well, they don't too much like the police. And they sure as hell don't like them when they're my color. It was, real hard for me to get permission to open up this place for you to search through. So they ain't gonna be too happy if I go back to them now, asking for another key.
What should we do then?
Let's just find a worker here who can lower the elevator for us instead. All they need to do is take a break from their work for a couple minutes.
And what am I supposed to do? Just stand here and pretend like nothing's happening?
Yeah, you FBI folks are good at that, right? That's always what I see you doing on TV.
Zach, I think we can move this. Better check back here as well, just to be on the safe side. Zach, the human ability to adapt is a frightening thing. Some humans have the power to sleep anywhere as long as they set their minds to it. Now we should be able to operate the elevator. No need to worry. This facility no longer has a body to steal. What else do they have to lose? A few cans of crawfish? I feel bad for him, but it's for the sake of the investigation. I'll write him a letter of apology later.
Mr. York, did you find a key? Ha! Now that's my special agent. There ain't no stopping you. Want to head straight down?
You bet. Let's sally forth, Melvin. Zach, look at that thermometer. 0 degrees Fahrenheit, or minus 17.7 degrees Celsius. This is the ambiguous zero.
Hey, Avery! Open the damn door, Avery! It ain't no use, Mr. York. Once Avery starts working on something, that's all he sees. He just tunes out everything else. We'll have to wait until he finishes and comes out to us, I reckon. Or we could come back tomorrow.
I disagree, Melvin. Time may be on our side, but that doesn't mean we should waste it. You gave me Mr. Alligator precisely for moments like these, didn't you?
Wait, Mr. York! Those tranquilizers may be non-lethal, but it's still dangerous to use them on humans.
Of course, Melvin. I never said I was going to shoot him.
You're gonna shoot some meat to get his attention. I'm right, ain't I?
I lent you Mr. Alligator for self-defense. But if you end up hurting a civilian, you can bet you'll be hearing from me. This is Mr. York, an agent from the FBI.
Hi, Avery. I'm Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, call me York.
York, you a smarty pants, huh?
He's shyer than he looks. Come on, just settle down, Avery. Tell him what this here place is for.
Lots of expensive food here. Yup. Mighty precious to the Clarksons, so I gotta guard it.
I see. So you're this area's keeper.
Oh, I help with the research too. I do like research.
Research? What are you talking about, Avery? This doesn't look like a lab to me.
Oh, ain't no lab It's a warehouse. Ain't no lab. Smarty pant scientist does the research. I ain't no smarty pants, no.
He's a bit slow in the mind, but he ain't a bad guy. Oh. Your story about the giant who carried Lisa out. Don't tell me you think it's him. I mean, it's true that he's free to come and go as he pleases in this warehouse, but...
No, as far as I can tell, he's just a bit over 6'5". The one who moved Lisa's body must be at least 10 feet tall. He's clearly too short.
Too short, huh? Well, if you ever happen to find a man who makes him look small, I'd sure like to meet him.
Lise.
Hey, cut it out!
Lise? Why?
Avery, that's not Lise.
Not Lise?
This is Melvin's daughter, and my precious assistant. Unfortunately, Lise is no longer with us.
Lise! Lise! My fault! My fault!
I guess he's sort of like Lise, you know? See, the poor fella's got himself a childlike mind. You know how normal kids tease other kids in order to get attention? Well, with this big lug, sometimes folks who don't know him too well see something and end up calling the police. But I know that deep down, he's got a good heart. Hey, Mr. York, I'll keep him busy, but I'd appreciate it if you'd hurry this particular inspection along. Just holler at me if you find anything. I reckon that'll make it easier for you to go do your thing, yeah?
Melvin, I think you're finally starting to catch on. And Dewey. Now here's some real Cajun cuisine. The way these sausages are linked up, they almost look like a serpent. But it's hard to imagine them flying. Let's move on, Zach.
I'll keep an eye on him while we're here. Just relax, Avery. We'll get out of your way as soon as we're finished.
There are torn-off claws and legs scattered all over the ground. I doubt they'll fly anytime soon. I can't tell which ones are from crawfish and which parts are from shrimp. How about you, Zach? Cans of Holy Trinity paste. Onions, bell peppers, and celery. The absolute basics for any Cajun dish. This product combines them all into some sort of paste. People actually buy this garbage? Even the name sounds idiotic. Zach, I just made an eternal promise with myself. If I ever happen to come across any food prepared with this paste, I vow to never call it Cajun food. Frozen oysters. Personally, I'd rather have a cocktail filled with fresh ones. We hunt for more materials than we can eat and freeze them over long periods of time. The human race gives terror a whole new meaning. Avery, this box looks special.
Clarkson food, for their home.
Melvin, is this the Clarksons family crest?
Oh, the dragonfly? Yeah, that's the Clarksons mark, all right. Ain't no big deal, though. You can find those all over town.
Is that so?
Well, yeah. They pretty much run all of this town's major industries. Yeah, I do believe they own just about everything there is to own. So their word is law. They got the whole darn town tattooed with their dragonflies. Can't even walk a few steps without seeing one.
Zach, this dragonfly is our flying serpent. The flying serpent owns this town. They're related to Lise Clarkson, our victim. And Hungan's oracle pointed us toward their family crest. The Clarksons must be deeply intertwined with this case. Melvin, Patricia, I think I've had enough of this frozen world. Let's head back out to that merciless sun. Well, what are you waiting for? I can't bear to spend another second down here.
Whew. So, what do we do now, Mr. York?
Zach and I will take things from here.
Then what should I do?
Tend to your sick wife? I don't know. You're free to do as you please. I'll stop by the sheriff's office when I need your help again.
I suppose that's what I'll do then. It'll sure make Candy happy. But I am the sheriff of this town, so I do intend to get some work done. I know. How about I search for Lisa's body while you're busy?
Not a bad idea. Just be careful that you don't get attacked by a barefooted giant.
Hey, don't scare me like that. Why do you keep talking about that giant anyway? You really think some giant was responsible for all this?
Melvin, don't be silly. Of course I do. Just when I thought you were starting to catch on. Disappointing, to say the least.
But how can you be so sure? I want to see some proof.
Proof number 1. The footprints that led up to where Lisa's body originally was were made with bare feet. None of the prints looked similar to those of common insulated boots, and the arches of the feet were visible. The person who carried out Lisa's body must have had very large feet. I'd say they were at least 16 inches. Proof number 2. I found fingerprints on the cord of one of the hanging lights in the warehouse. The fingerprints weren't aimed up from below. They were coming directly from the side. Clearly, the giant moved the light because it was in his way. He pinched the cord with his fingers. Proof number 3. There was nothing else found in the vicinity where Lisa's body was stored. This means the giant carried her out without dragging her across the floor. But there's only one set of footprints. The only conclusion I can draw from this evidence is that a barefooted giant, standing over 10 feet tall, carried Lisa's body out. That concludes the entirety of my proof. Any objections, Melvin?
But there ain't no way a human could ever be that tall.
Have you seen every human alive with your own eyes? Well then, you need to forget all your preconceived notions when embarking on an investigation. Whether you come face to face with a 10-foot giant or a skeletal gentleman, you always need to accept everything that comes to you with a clear mind. Do that, and eventually the truth will reveal itself to you. You're a smart kid, I'm sure you understand.
Well, I'll be damned. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Mr. FBI Special Agent, sir. A sharp eye and flawless observational skills. Uncovering the truth with a heady intuition. I won't ever question you again. Heck, I'll do whatever you say.
That's it, Melvin. I'm glad you finally caught on. Okay, time to go, Patty. You know this town well, so I'd like you to accompany me from now on.
Patty?
Zach, we found the flying serpent. Now we simply need to locate the 10 maidens. It's time to head on to Alexis's Diner and Lane.